I'm Jonny Smith.
I'm Richard Porter.
And this is Smith & Sniff, a podcast in which two friends talk about cars and many other things. There's been a lot of Bill Withers kicking about lately, and it's brought to my attention that there's two ways of looking at Bill Withers automotively, and that is the Bill Withers CVT, or I've got a counter to this. But let's talk about the Bill Withers CVT first of all. Now, I can't claim this, but it makes absolute sense. A listener called Ash Gooders, he did send us this letter, and he said, you know that really good song, Lovely Day by Bill Withers, which I do sing a lot and I listen to it a lot. Call me a sad dad, but I do when I'm making my morning coffee. At the end of the track, he obviously holds that impressively long note.
Yeah.
But in Ash's head, all he could hear was a CVT box and the concept of CVT Bill Withers just... So
the song is still accelerating, but Bill is holding constant revs.
Bill is holding constant revs, even though he's basically overtaking on an uphill, go around a cyclist, but then he's had an argument with somebody and he's just mashed the throttle.
Some of those CVTs, though, they're worse than that because they hold the revs and then the revs start to fall away and it feels like the car's still accelerating.
Yes, so
Bill doesn't
do that. That's
maybe.
Bill, Gen 2 Bill with his gearbox.
Lovely day.
So it's true, though. And Ash has got a question for this, but strictly that's for our other podcast, Ottersot. So I'll read that one out on our Ottersot. But this has got me thinking. I'm more of a Bill Withers bite point guy. And I'll explain my workings here because it could make sense to some of us. So recently I've been teaching a few mates of my kids to drive in the Civic that's too good to be a field car. And
so you are using the Civic as a field car even though it's too good for it.
Yeah, it's still MOT, Rich, which breaks my heart. Don't worry, it's not being jumped or anything or ruined. It's just driving around on grass.
Although, if anyone knows a thing or two about jumping in a field, then surely it's you.
Yes, I've got previous. Absolutely.
Is the Civic? Could you take the Civic out onto the road then? It's got an MOT. Is it insured for road use? I
could insure it. I lent it to my nephew for a week when he had other car issues, and he just put tax on it for a week and then took it off, refunded it when he gave it back to me. It's just bloody great.
Nice.
But anyway, we're not. The reason for the Bill Withers bite point was because when you're teaching somebody to drive, or / a very old, usually an old person who's not quite really in the manual gearbox game anymore, should actually be in the CVT game, and they hold the revs too high, like you're learning to drive, but they don't really know where the bite point of the clutch is, and so it's all a waiting game for everybody. So you just go, so the car is at 2,500 or whatever, and the clutch is coming out 1 mil every other second. and then after a really painful amount of time, like 45 seconds of the car just sitting there going, finally we get motion. We get kinetic motion.
It's like walking on ice, isn't it? You just don't want to do it too quickly.
No.
But the more cautious car driver, or in fact not driver, someone who's never driven before, you're right, it is. It's just creeping forward on the ice, waiting for you to drop through.
It's the Bill Withers bite point. And if you know of any old people that you can listen out for in the next coming weeks after listening to this podcast, I'm sure you'll hear a Bill Withers bite point going on. My mate, my children's friend, he was doing a lot of Bill Withersing the other weekend. I was just giggling to myself in the passenger seat. So there.
We mentioned on last Friday's Ottersot about that stupid thing that we used to do when we were kind of late teenagers, where if you're sitting in the front passenger seat of your mate's manual car at a junction.
Oh, yeah.
Try and flick it into neutral without them noticing.
Yeah.
Because then you get the... and
Yeah.
I don't know who that is. That's not Bill Withers, is it? That's somebody else. But just too many revs is sort of excruciating and funny all at the same time. In any circumstance, too many revs with no resistance. Too many revs with the clutch in.
Too many revs with no resistance. That sounds like a real prog rock album, doesn't it?
Do you think? I thought the way you said it then quite rhythmically almost sounds like something the Shaman would have done. Back in the day.
Revs.
Too many revs with no resistance.
Yes, it could.
All coming on with the revs again.
It could be, couldn't it? LSI, Love, Sex, Intelligence. I always thought it was just...
TMAR, too many revs.
LSI, Luxury Sport Injection.
We used to call, like, do you remember, I don't think people say this anymore, but you used to go townies, like, which sort of basically meant slightly frightening lads.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh no, townies. You've got to get your head kicked in by some townies. But then, I don't know where this came from. Might be one of my mates who used to like just making up words, but we started calling them civics.
Oh,
You
really?
Don't go down there, there's a big gang of civics down there, they'll batter you. And I don't know why. I suppose civic, town, it's the same sort of,
It is, but of course,
type of word.
The brilliant car reference, civics.
Yeah, well, it's the same mate, and we've mentioned this on the podcast before, a long time ago. It's the same mate who first introduced us to saying village to mean something shit.
Oh, I couldn't do that because I think villages reign supreme.
When I mentioned this on the podcast, I don't know, a couple of years ago or something, quite a few people got in touch and pointed out that it probably comes from cricket, which would make sense because this mate of mine, he listens to this podcast, I think, actually. Hello, has. He was a cricketer. So I think village is like you're
Village
sort of pointing out that you are not watching England versus India in an international test. You are watching some amateurs hacking around a field on a Saturday afternoon.
Who've just eaten way too much red meat and drunk too much ale.
So, in a similar, because I'm not particularly, abreast of sports, but I quite like sporting catchphrase, I know. Well...
it's because we're losers.
Some of my friends, when I was at school, used to do, it comes from football, but they used to apply it to all sorts of stuff. If they saw someone being shit at something, they'd go, it's just like watching Brazil. It's just like watching Brazil.
Aren't Brazil really good?
Sluggish. Yeah, no, but that's the thing, it was sarcastic.
Oh.
Apparently, it was like you were watching some lower league football team and they were absolutely shite. You would very listlessly sing, it's just like watching Brazil. It's like sarcastic chanting.
I don't think I want sarcastic chanting. I think I want straight to the point football chanting.
I think sarcastic chanting makes me proud to be British because I don't know because I don't really speak French or Italian or German, but I don't know whether those sort of football crowds would sarcastically chant or if they're much more to the point. I certainly couldn't imagine sarcastic chanting in America.
Well, would you chant at someone that hasn't found the bite point and they're trying to leave their drive? And you're just walking by with your dog, and then you just start pointing.
It's in there somewhere. Keep going.
Exactly.
Keep going.
You're going to find it. You'll find the treasure. You'll find it.
It's pin the tail on the donkey, isn't it?
Yeah. Because
you're sort of feeling your way forward, but in that really cautious way because you don't want to knock the board over.
Yeah. It's when you know where your bite point is. And this goes back to obviously when you're first learning to drive, less so now, unless you're jumping into lots of weird cars. But when you know where the bite point is and you don't even need to think about it anymore, that's good, isn't it? That feels good.
Particularly in a sort of sportier car with a slick gear change.
Yeah.
When you can change gear and you are on the fringes of the bite point.
Yeah. I've driven a lot of cars with race clutches, and when you can master one of those without really thinking about it, because you've been in the car a little while, it's so good. Whereas initially it's just stall city, if you're not careful.
Speaking of cars with slick and sporty gear shifts,
yeah,
I've got my Defender back.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well, what a seamless entry.
No, not slick and sporty. I meant like...
So you've driven it for the first time in a long time?
Yeah. First time in almost 3.5 years.
Is it that long? Sugar
It really
plum
is.
fairy. Wow.
It was a bit weird. It's like seeing someone you haven't seen for a long time, but who you used to be really close with.
Mm.
And there has to be a little bit of sort of easing back into the relationship. And so in a weird way, I got in it and it's like, there we go. See, this is all familiar. Except these two very sweet guys from the storage place, because I had to say to them, look, I'm coming to get my car, but I won't bring it back. That's it. Just tell me what I owe you. And we're done. Nothing personal. It's just I'm going to keep it somewhere near my house. And when I picked it up, they'd cleaned it and changed the battery in the remote and everything for me because it was getting a bit weak. And they gave me a bottle of wine to say thanks for storing my car with them.
Seriously, you got a bottle of wine?
Yeah, and then they'd moved it outside, so it was sitting in the yard out the front of the storage place, which was great because it's sort of sitting on its own just there. So I came out of the thing because I'd gone inside to just fill in the paperwork, and I hadn't seen it because I'd gone in the other entrance. So there it was, ta-da! Kind of like, oh, here's your car, and it was great. Then I got in it, and that's
really nice.
It's so long since I've driven it, and I've driven so many other cars in the interim that I forgot. Which is slightly embarrassing. First of all, the Defender's ignition barrel is on the left of the steering column,
yes,
not the right, as it is in most cars. So
it's like British bike gearbox, gear levers on motorbikes when Japanese put it on the other side. There's a bar. Yeah.
Oh, that's something else I was going to talk about in a minute. But I just so the worst thing is these two guys having given me the bottle of wine and said, "Well, hopefully we might see you again one day." And I was like, "Yeah, you never know. Okay, thanks very much. Cheers." And then did
you say cheers, mate? Thanks, mate. Bye.
I didn't.
Oh,
I don't think I did. I think I was wearing some of our merch though, and if I assumed that neither of them knew what it was or listened to this show. But if I'd then done a catchphrase, it might have seemed a bit.
Imagine if you did
it'd have gone
a really rubbish catchphrase that we don't use, and they would have gone, "Why did you do that?" You go, "Cheers, guys, bye, guys, bye." Go,
well, like a sort of off-brand version of one of our catchphrases.
Yeah, it's like if Lidl did it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, this seems familiar, yet somehow not. Anyway, these two blokes were then standing there sort of beaming at me as I got into my car and then tried to put the key in the wrong side. Oh. And then the other thing is, because clearly what's happened with these Defenders is they've used the generic, probably British Leyland ignition barrel, but just put it on the other side. So it then turns the wrong way effectively.
Oh, God.
If it was on the right-hand side, you would then turn it away from you to turn the car on. Yeah. You have to turn it towards you in the Defender. And of course, I forgot that as well. So I just looked like a bit of a knob who didn't know how to operate his own car in a sort of minor way. And then I was thinking, don't stall it, don't stall it, don't stall it, don't stall it.
Oh, well, did you Bill Withers it?
I didn't, because the thing is, because it's a luggy old diesel, it's quite hard to stall. I mean, you can set off, let the clutch out in first, and then just take your feet off all the pedals, and it chugs away. It's not a stally car, but and then so it was immediately sort of. I was like, okay, now I'm back into the groove, yeah. But then I was sort of driving it, going, this is what it feels like. Yes, I remember now. This is what it feels. And it took me a while just to sort of get in sync with it. In fact, I sort of felt like I got home. It was quite a long drive home. I drove down the M4 and it was really hot. And I got home and I was a bit like, that was hard work. And I wasn't sort of like totally in love. But then, fortunately, the next day I drove to rural Wales. Yeah, and nothing feels better than a Defender driving across the countryside in this country.
This is true.
And,
it's funny.
I was totally back in love with it.
I'm glad you mentioned this because I had this a bit with when I got my 2CV on the road, and I hadn't had a long relationship prior to it, but having spent a lot of time and money rebuilding the car effectively, I still wasn't sure whether I was going to enjoy it. In the first couple of journeys, I was a bit like, am I going to keep this car? And then I went on a longer journey in it when I had more time, and I suppose I wasn't thinking about anything else. And we just clicked. And and every time I get in it now, I know how good it is because I remember that particular journey. But there was a lot of nervousness at the beginning, coupled with the fact that I had put the car together, and so you do go, have we done it right? I think we've done it right. Pretty sure we've done it right.
I mean, yes, but let's be honest, nothing, no offence to you, but Darren does know what he's doing and he helped you put it together, didn't he? So
yeah, Darren at the TCV shop and the boys there, very, very good. And they were fueled on my mum's definitely laced with drugs flapjack. So they were on it. So honestly, to the point where once I went round there and I didn't have any and their faces were just so glum. They wanted me to sort them out with some gear from my mum. Yeah. Cool, eh?
Now, what I was going to say as well, sorry, this is just suddenly and accidentally doing a My Cars roundup, but this is something, it's an ongoing thing, but talk about stuff being on the wrong side or not, but because my Honda Beat is a Japanese market car, the indicator stalk is on the right.
Of course.
And I haven't had a car like that since. I had a VXR8 long-termer, and being built for the Aussies, Holden had gone, well, let's put the indicator on the right because that's the correct side for a right-hand drive car, because then you can indicate whilst changing gear.
Of course.
You're in a car, and particularly because the Beat needs a lot of gear changing, it's bloody brilliant. You suddenly go, why aren't all cars like this? This is the car manufacturers at some point, I think in the 70s maybe, started getting bone idle and just went, no, we want to use one assembly for every steering column. So screw you right-hand drive people. Except in Japan, where the Japanese car makers still do it properly. And they must be baffled in their meetings going, so we make column stalks to put the indicator on the right, but we're not going to do that for British cars because everybody's got used to the arrogance and laziness of car makers in other countries. And they must be scratching their heads going, why? This is better. This is just better. But anyway, that's our fault for not rioting in the streets over indicator stalks.
Yes, that's right.
You sounded that's how I speak to my daughter sometimes when she's coming up with some outlandish claim. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Cats can smell colours, Daddy. Yes, that's right. I can't be bothered engaging in debate.
Yeah, that's right. So I've learned two interesting things this week. Only two. One of them is that there's a lorry in the UK that exists with a huge Imran Khan mural on the back that I followed on the motorway.
No.
And it was very deep. Yeah, I did manage to get my passenger to get a picture, albeit not the greatest picture, but I will share it with you. It was great.
Is this as in like airbrushed on the cab back?
No, on the back of the container.
Oh.
Yeah, it was full height. So about 10 feet high or something.
Was there any writing to explain this?
No, I think it just said Imran Khan in the bottom corner.
I'd like if on the side of the lorry it just said suave in really big letters and that was it.
I'd like it if Imran Khan had painted it himself. He just got out one night.
He was driving the truck as well.
He couldn't sleep one night and he went, I'm going to draw myself on the back of a lorry that's parked up.
But you know, people who've had pickup trucks always go, you don't realise how useful they are until you've had one and then you can't live without one. Do you think Imran Khan once drove a truck and then went, this is really handy. I can move a lot of suave clothes and cricket supplies around in this, and he's never looked back and he just has a truck now as his sort of daily driver.
I could see Khan in a 7.5 tonner.
Was this a rigid chassis or an?
This was a 16-wheeler. This thing.
Oh,
but I think Khan's. I think if Imran was going to choose his own set of wheels, I reckon he'd go 7.5 tonner with a lift on the back,
more nimble. Yeah,
you know the ones that have the forklift truck that's kind of clipped onto the back.
Oh yes,
always like a little bijou. I suppose like a boat tender for a yacht.
Exactly that, yeah.
But it's a forklift truck. I always think they look like quite cute, don't they? Because they're synonymous. They're creatures that work with one another.
Yes, like those little birds that live on the back of hippos. And
exactly, or those fish that swim underneath whales and they bite mollusks off them. or whatever.
Parasitic creatures, aren't
That's
they?
parasitics. That's right, mate.
Parasitic,
That's
isn't
right.
it?
That's right. And do you know the other thing I learned this week, which I thought no one else would appreciate possibly if it weren't for this podcast? Well, my videographer, Phil, he said, have you ever looked up interesting names of Transformers toys? And I went, no. He went, well, there used to be one called Slag. And I went, I don't believe you. This is true. There was a Transformers toy called Slag. Character. Robot. And it got called Slug. It got changed to Slug for the UK market.
Oh.
Because we obviously didn't understand it. It was actually, strictly speaking, a Dinobot, which might have been a competitor to Transformers. But hey, look, we don't want to muddy the waters here. It was genuinely called Slag.
Slag as in like slag heap?
Yes, it must be like Slag Heap. Yes, must be. Do you want any other names?
Go on.
Okay. There's one called Erector, which was a robot that turned into a crane lorry, it seems. In 1989.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, you've got one called... Still don't understand this one. It's just called Rodney. I don't know why.
No, that was from that short-lived Only Fools and Horses Transformers crossover, wasn't it? The Delbot.
Yeah, but I don't know what it's about, but it is a robot that transforms into a thing, and it's called Rodney from 1987. There's one called, this one's good. Hang on. Lube.
No, there isn't.
There is one. It's a Power Master from 1988. It's called Lube. Genuinely.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. I know.
Mind you, is this... Is it that the word lube has become more synonymous with
sexual encounters rather than...
Sexual stuff.
Yeah.
Over the years? Or is it the US... doesn't sort of find lube as kind of such a giggly word? Because there's lots of lube shops in America. Yeah,
there is, because it's your drive-in oil change kind of territory, isn't it?
Yeah, because Americans change their oil every 2 days, don't they? So they need it.
As we probably now know, that's where Brian May made most of his money. It's not Queen at all.
No.
It's insisting that people change their oil pretty much every other day. In their lunch break or on the way back from work. Yeah. Do you want any other names while we're there, Rich?
Go on. Yeah, I do.
All right. Coming in at number 7 on this particular forum that I'm on, Slowpoke is the name.
Slowpoke?
Yeah, is the name of it's a MicroMaster Monster Truck Patrol transforming vehicle from 1990. Slowpoke.
Uh-huh. Slowpoke.
We've got Discharge. No, we have. We actually have. I wish I was making this up. Yeah,
what?
I think it's
is it an ambulance or something? Oh, right.
Oh no, do you know what it is? It might be a fire truck. It's from 1992.
Oh, because what? It's discharging water onto a fire, maybe?
Well, I seriously don't. I'm questioning. There's one called Power Glide, which we would know
transmission.
It's a 2-speed, very robust auto box from General Motors, isn't it? Yeah, which is great. That's from 1985. That's a mini bot, strictly speaking. That one. We've got one called Omega S.P.R.E.E.M, which Omega S.P.R.E.E.M, S.P.R.E.E.M.
S.P.R.E.E.M. But that's not a word.
I know.
S.P.R.E.E.M.
I think it's supposed to be Omega Supreme. I don't know. But anyway. Omega S.P.R.E.E.M. Hey, look, it's a thing. It's
hang on.
I think it was a tank. Looks like it was a tank.
S.P.R.E.E.M. Oh, okay. Now according to this,
it's not spume, is it?
S.P.R.E.E.M is short for Simulation Program for Regional Energy and Environmental Management. I don't think that's it.
That's not it.
No,
that's not it. So yeah, we've got Omega S.P.R.E.E.M and just above Omega S.P.R.E.E.M there's one called Big Daddy. But there's also one called Stalker,
named after John Stalker, the former Chief Constable of Manchester.
Yes, that's right. God, do you remember his documentaries? His investigative...
No.
He did some good TV shows called I don't know, a Night with Stalker or something. Night Stalker, was it? Night
On reflection, not a good surname to bandy around.
No, I don't.
Hi, but then he was replaced in Manchester by, who was that guy? Was it James Anderson was the successive chief constable of Manchester who got into trouble because he sort of said he answered only to Jesus or something like that, and everyone went, well, Jesus doesn't pay your bloody council tax, or something like that. So anyway, I found Omega S.P.R.E.E.M on some kind of Transformers wiki.
Are you cool with Omega S.P.R.E.E.M?
Well, apparently S.P.R.E.E.M stands for Strike Prototype Rapid Engagement and Elimination Module. That's just bullshit.
It just doesn't. That's fables.
That's just shit.
That's absolute shit. Fables.
Yeah, but S.P.R.E.E.M is still a stupid word. Anyway.
S.P.R.E.E.M. Yeah.
Good.
So they're all the things I've been enjoying this week. That and the Imran Khan mural truck.
Yeah, I'd like to know more about the Imran Khan mural truck.
It was pretty impressive, but there was no reference on the side to it or anything, so I don't know whether it was a promotional campaign truck or what. I'm just not sure.
Just promoting Imran Khan.
Yeah,
it's always good to just keeping people's consciousness. So I've painted my face on a lorry.
Would you do that?
Would I paint my face on a lorry?
Yeah.
Yes, but I think I'd give myself some incredibly big wraparound sunglasses like out of an 80s science fiction film.
Oh, not like Dog the Bounty Hunter. That's where I was going with
that.
Sort
of, but even bigger and more futuristic in the 80s.
I'd get
and I'd be absolutely head on as well. No sort of angle. I'd just be like I'm looking straight at following cars and lorries.
Oh, what, like with the head slightly down, like T-1000 from Terminator 2, with that stare?
Yes. I think...
Well, he did that run. He ran at you quite fast, didn't he?
Yes.
T-1000.
Oh, we've talked before about Tom Cruise running.
Yeah.
The slicey hands run.
Yes.
Finally went to see the new Mission Impossible film last week.
Oh, okay.
And there's some good Tom Cruise running in that.
Is there?
I mean, I think he puts it into the contract of all his films that he has to do some running. And they go, but Tom, it's a costume drama. It's about the poet Wordsworth. No, I'm still going to be doing some slicey hand running. I don't care. But yeah, he does quite early on. He does some incredible running in London, and he's just like, God, he loves running.
He does. Well, it's weird you should bring up MI, because I'd written down some names of the previous Mission Impossibles is. I mean, what you got? Mission Impossible 4, Ghost Protocol. Mission 5, Rogue Nation. Mission 6, Fallout. And then this one's called The Final Reckoning, isn't it? Is it The Final Reckoning?
Yes, but wasn't the last one called Dead Reckoning or something? I forget now.
I actually can't remember.
I think it was, and then... I'm going to look this up. I think the last one... It was Dead Reckoning Part 1. Oh. And this one was going to be called Dead Reckoning Part 2. And then I think I read somewhere the studio went, no. Call it Final Reckoning because it's the last movie. So it sort of spoiled that they'd accidentally called it Part 1 and then not called the other one Part 2. But it's an enjoyable kind of film if you like Mission Impossible films, by the way, the recent one.
I think that one of them should have been called Mission Impossible: The Vapey Remap, for example. And then you got, well, I don't know. Let's have a look. Mission Impossible Rolls Ghost Prototype. What would be Rogue Nation? Rogue is a Nissan, isn't it? In America,
yes, it is in
for American markets.
Yeah.
So it'd be the Nissan. What would be the Fallout? Would that be DPF? How do you clear out the DPFs? I've forgotten what they do. They basically just claw them out.
Well, they're supposed to do that thing where they like you drive at a constant speed, usually sort of 50 miles an hour or something, and it goes through a regen.
A regen. It's a DPF regen, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that could be a good Mission Impossible. It could be, couldn't it?
Yeah.
But if anyone's got any other possible Mission impossible car-based names, please contact us and let us know.
So Nissan Impossible Rogue Nation would be a whole
Nissan
thing.
Impossible.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that. Or Nissin Impossible, who are a brake manufacturer for a lot of motorbike parts, Japanese motorbikes. Nissin Impossible. Or it is possible. I just don't know. I don't know about its possibilities anymore. I'm just not sure. We didn't talk about Le Mans the other week because that's just gone, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And you did. We didn't go this year. Sad face. But you sent me a fantastic picture because I know our friend Chris Harris went and drove an actual race car there. And it was the Dark Horse. Was it the Dark Horse? It was the Dark Horse Mustang, wasn't it?
Yeah, Mustang, yeah.
Yeah. And but in that picture that you sent me of the drivers doing the sort of hero shots of the drivers, everyone was wearing a race suit apart from Monkey Harris, who was wearing a very thin leather jacket.
Thin leather jacket? I was like, are they going to let him race in that?
Yeah. But you see, I've got a theory for this. And my theory's this. We know the great Tiff Needell, who worships the Carpaccio of leather jacket,
yes,
but also has some form with the 24-hour. And I saw one of his old race cars actually this week. The
Listerine Storm.
Yeah, it wasn't that one. No, it was a Porsche that he must have raced with Derek Bell because Derek Bell's name was on it as well.
Sorry, who?
Sorry, 16-time competitor Derek Bell in the Le Mans 24-hour. Maybe Derek Bell just goes around writing his name on all race cars affiliated with the Le Mans 24-hour. So it's just got his name on it as well as everybody else's name on it. Who knows?
Once you've won it 5 times, you are allowed to do that because you just, you're considered to be a king of Le Mans. So
is it? It's a diplomatic immunity amongst the 24-hour.
Kind of, yeah.
The WEC people.
This has reminded me of something excellent. Last week, we mentioned that a listener's daughter, Alyssa, who's 8, was going to attempt to set a pedal car lap record around a Goodwood circuit.
Oh, yeah.
To raise money for Mission Motorsport.
Yeah.
And it was happening Friday before last, so just after we recorded, but we didn't know how she'd done when the podcast went live. Now we do. Her dad's been back in touch. He says, just to bring you up to date, Alyssa completed her lap and broke the lap record. We had to recalibrate expectations at the last moment when we found out that a lap record had actually been set by a young lad in 2020. But it seems there was some understandable confusion during COVID, so not everyone knew about it. The record that was set was 41 minutes, significantly quicker than the 50-plus minutes Alyssa was aiming for. But she absolutely went for it and broke that time by, and this is incredible, 10 minutes.
What? Really?
That must make an average speed of 5 to 6 miles an hour over the lap. Remember, this is a pedal car. It's a little kid's pedal car.
And how old is she again?
8.
That's amazing. Her legs must have been burning.
I know. I got 10 minutes off the record when previously she was aiming for... So, in fact, she knocked 20 minutes off her own target. Her dad says it was a pretty hot day and the incline at St Mary's was hard work, but Mini Rolos powered her through.
That's so impressive.
It's really good, isn't it? She was supported around the lap by the Goodwood film crew and the guys from Austin Pedal Cars, as well as an Alvis 1250 Tourer we press-ganged into support car duties at the last minute. There were moments we had to jump on the Alvis's running boards to keep up with her, especially on the run down to Woodcoats.
Oh, that's great. Well done.
It's just fantastic. So,
bravo,
Alyssa, well done.
Bravo.
That is superb. So her dad points out as well, because this is all for a good cause. At the time that he wrote to us, there were over £7,000 in donations towards Mission Motorsport, and the Just Giving page will be open until after the revival. So if you want to donate to recognise Alyssa's amazing achievement for a very worthwhile cause, then search Just Giving for Mission Motorsport and a pedal car lap record. But the reason I also wanted to bring this up, you noticed when we brought this up last week that there was a publicity photo of Alyssa talking to 5-time Le Mans winner Derek Bell.
Oh, yeah.
Giving us some pointers on the racing line.
Oh, yeah.
And what have you. Well, her dad says Alyssa already refers to Derek Bell as 5 times Le Mans winner Derek Bell, and now thinks very highly of you guys for doing the same.
So hang on, have we been copying her? I think
Apparently so.
Oh,
Well, anyway,
gosh.
not only a pedal car record holder, record setter for that matter, but also very wise.
Well, look, I wanted to read out this. This is just a little message that came actually to the wrong email address, our old Smith and Sniff address. Look, but I thought I'd read it out anyway because it's just a really nice letter. From Evie. Richard, Jonny, I've become... That's the first time someone's just called us by our names at the start of a letter, by the way.
Yes. What? And not called us flutes or trombones or bell helmets or something. Yes.
Exactly, bell housing. I have become confusingly familiar with your references over the last few years with a ping-pong exchange of particular phrases such as "spoets" and "faults" from my older brother and my dad, who are religious petrolheads. I, however, lack quite the same knowledge that they have about cars as a 23-year-old female veterinary nurse student. Saying that, I have recently become a new listener of your podcast, and I can convincingly say that I thoroughly enjoy them and look forward to a Monday for the new one to be uploaded. I've grown up around car talk, so when my dad told me to listen to this specific episode, Clown in a Bedford Rascal, if I needed a good laugh, to be completely honest, I thought it wouldn't really be my cup of tea, but I put that episode on just before I set off on a 3-hour drive from Wiltshire to Nottingham, basically Nottingham, on my way back to university, and I have to say, I did indeed have many a good laughs. I can also say I'm now proudly part of the Smith and Sniff community. I've listened to 3 episodes during this very journey, and I'm currently watching all the episodes I have missed whenever doing my university work. I'd love a mention in one of your podcasts, but I appreciate I'm potentially not your typical demographic. Best wishes, your newly automotive educated, although not entirely, listener, Evie. Thank you, Evie. And can I just say, Clown in a Bedford Rascal, it'll never get better than that. That is, that's peak.
And that was quite early, so yes, we peaked. That's it.
Yeah.
It's a slow but constant
on
downhill.
that side of things.
Oh,
yeah.
Thanks, Evie. That's lovely. I was about to give out the email address, but it sounds like we're being a bit, as the kids say, thirsty for nice emails like that. We're not. You can call us flutes and trombones as much as you like.
Well,
hello@smithandsniff.com. Now, can I invite you to step over to Pistonheads Auction Corner?
Please. Invite me. Take me by the hand and lead me through the streets of Pistonhead Auctionery.
The streets of auctions, yeah. So, as people know, this podcast is sponsored by our friends at Pistonheads. And you may also know, as well as a vast classified section, they now do online auctions. So every so often we pick a car each from the auctions, and you can debate who has chosen more wisely by going to pistonheads.com/Smith and Sniff. Now, this week, my eye was caught by something that I think pretty much counts as retro these days, because it's a 2006 Subaru Impreza WRX PPP.
Oh.
Which, of course, stands for ProDrive Performance Package.
Oh, that's exactly that. Yeah. I thought it was Peter Purvis Prostate.
Yes. Peter. To people, I don't know whether Impreza enthusiasts call these PPPs or triple P, but anyway, you know what I mean. The great thing about this car...
It's the Hawkeye face.
This is a Hawkeye. So this is a facelift of the Blob Eye, the notably ugly Impreza. This then is the one where Peter Stevens, in fact, the British designer, led a team in the UK that sorted out the front of this as best they could and made it a little bit nicer looking. This, I mean, it's never going to be a pretty car, but they have a certain sort of handsome purposefulness to them. And this is in that sort of classic Subaru blue, but it doesn't have the gold wheels. It has silver wheels, very handsome, but not too sort of shouty alloy wheels. A fairly low rise rear spoiler. And
I thought you were referring to jeans all of a sudden.
Yes.
Then, no, you were talking about the boot spoiler.
It's a 2006 car. I'm sure you could get the jeans to match. But no, the amazing thing about this car is that it only has 30,000 miles on it.
That is really impressive.
And I'm looking at these pictures and I think I can smell this car. Because those Imprezas and Subarus of that age, they definitely had a certain smell to them. And this, because it's not been used an awful lot, I suspect the smell will be intact. But the main thing is, it's just, that is, to me, is one of those cars that it will sort of never cease to be cool for people who know what they're looking at. And it's of no interest whatsoever to everyone else, which is great. I like that kind of car.
Yeah, I do. It's also a really fun car because having driven a classic Impreza not that long ago and really refreshed my mind of how small and nimble they are, they still feel very quick. So this PPP, this is obviously quicker than a normal WRX of that era.
So they sort of chipped. I think it's got a slightly fruitier exhaust. And it says here also a high-flow fuel pump boosts power to 266 brake horsepower.
This is nice.
I can hear it. I can smell this car somehow.
Yeah.
I can feel the gear change. Yeah. Fantastic, really mechanical, lovely gear change, and I can hear it. That sort of underwater fart sound at low revs.
Do you know what it is? It's like a narrowboat idling with its exhaust under the water. It is exactly that. It's a bath cuff.
Yes.
Yes.
So, this is fabulous. I've no idea. The auction for this one starts on Thursday, the 26th. So the bidding hasn't started yet. I've no idea what this would go for. I honestly don't know. I haven't been paying attention to what the market for these is like, because I feel like they're now coming into that area where people who idolise these as kids maybe have done all right in life and have got the money to buy a nice toy. So I'm sure they're on the rise. I don't think, unless you just immediately stacked 100,000 miles on this thing in a year, I don't think you'd lose on this. Yeah. So somebody's going to get a really, really nice toy there.
And just keeping it early millennium spec, it's got a Pioneer CD player with remote control and a removable front panel with the storage.
Perfect. Box. Yes.
So that's what we want. That looks great. I was having a little...
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, I was having a little breeze through the Pistonheads auctions, and I actually thought you were going to go for the MG ZT 190, similar era to that Scooby.
I did think about it, yes.
Because that's also blue and a clean example of the mark.
Yes.
With 50 thou on the clock.
Yeah.
And I looked at that. There's an E21 BMW on their like base model, which does look really naughty. But I've settled for a 1967 Alfa Romeo GT Junior with Alfaholics upgrades and a Bob Dove engine. Now, you might be saying, what's a Bob Dove engine? Do you know what? I don't know really either. So I started reading. And luckily, I had an awful lot of pictures and information given to me via the auction site. So I was wading through. So this particular car is I guess, being Alfaholics, having Alfaholics components, it's a resto mod. It's based on a 1300 GT, and it's now a 2-litre engine, but it was a one previous owner car from South Africa, so right-hand drive. Now that doesn't guarantee it's got no rot, but it certainly helps from my experience. So Bob Dove Motorsport, not very well known in the bigger world, but in the alpha world, serious alpha warrior when it comes to building motors. So what Bob's done is he's taken the 2-litre twin cam and he's given it about 165 horsepower, I think it is. Yeah, so 1962cc, 155 to the rear wheels, and the components list, I'm just going to scroll down because there's a lot of spec of this car, which I can't possibly cover.
155, but then how much is this going to weigh? Well, nothing.
They're normally under 900 kilos.
Oh, yeah.
Memory. So
I like the fact that one of the Alfaholics modifications to this, I notice, is Alfaholics GTA mesh grille and lightweight Alfa Romeo heart.
You can get a lightweight heart.
The idea that Alpha sort of shield-shaped thing on the front would be weighing you down and needs to get a lightweight one, but it probably says something about the attention to detail here that this is going to weigh very little, isn't it? Again, a car I can hear in my head.
You've got the Alphaholics stainless exhaust, okay? You've got the Alphaholics brake master cylinder, braided hoses, uprated discs, calipers, pads, all from Alphaholics, including Coney Sport dampers and new bushes. But you've also got limited slip diff. You've got a Bob Dove rebuilt short shift 5-speed gearbox with an uprated hydraulic clutch and all that. The dynamo's been replaced with an alternator. It's got electronic ignition, Piper Cross air filter, that with RAM intake. That will sound glorious because it's snorting through rebuilt Delorto carbs. I know this is going to be a great driver's car. 15-inch GTA replica wheels from off of Alphaholics as is.
Yeah.
So yeah, a huge list. But these cars, see, if I bought it, I would want to put bumpers on it, but it's an unpopular opinion because lots of people say, why would you do that? I like cars with bumpers.
Yeah, I noticed in the listing it comes with its bumpers, but the current owner has chosen to take them off. And I know what you mean. It's sort of, I don't mind it without the bumpers, but when you notice the mounting points, you kind of go, oh no, the bumpers have fallen off.
Yeah, I'd have to go
so
bumpers.
Perhaps it would look better with the bumpers back on.
Yeah, I think so. But look, it's a right-hand drive, really good-looking Alfa Romeo, and these are one of the few monocoque cars my brother says they're great. I would love to drive one. Yeah.
Huh. Wow.
I think he really, and you know, Greg, he's
I was going to say, if it's got the Grumpy Greg seal of approval, then you know that this is something special.
Oh, my word, seriously. Yeah, seriously.
Well, I mean, I can't fault that choice. But if you would like to decide who's chosen best, or you could just say that we both have modern classic Impreza versus actual classic Alpha. Like I said, go to pistonheads.com/Smith and Sniff, and that takes you to a page in the forum where you can debate these cars. And go to pistonheads.com, follow the link for auctions to see these cars when the bidding starts. Like I said, the Impreza starts on Thursday this week. If you're listening to this podcast when it comes out, the Alpha on Wednesday.
So
run for an week.
Choose your fighter, people. Is it Hawkeye Scooby or is it Bob Dove Alpha? That's the question. And for clarity, I'm pretty sure Bob Dove has nothing to do with Disco Biscuits in the rave era. I'm sure there's nothing,
also,
no connection at all.
Are we sure it's not Bob Dove? like the American word for the past tense of
diving. It could be Bob Dove. We'll have to ask him.
There's no accent on the E. It could be Bob DeVay.
Stop.
Just don't know. Anyway.
Do you know what? Actually, Bob DeVay race engines sounds like it's got so much panache. Oh, yeah. I mean, I took it to Bob DeVay and we've won every race since.
You'd change it, wouldn't you? Just if you were Bob Dove, I think I would change it. I'd change my business name to Roberto Dove. And people oh, that's exotic.
Yes, Roberto.
It turns out he's from Runcorn, but it doesn't matter because it sounds, it's, who was the...
Roberto Duvet. Yeah.
The car designer, Trevor Fiore, his real name or his birth name was Trevor Frost. But when he wanted to become a car designer, when he went to work in Italy, I think it was like his mum's maiden name or something was Fiore, and he thought that sounded more car designery because it's Italian. So he changed his name to Trevor Fiore to sound more plausibly a car designer, which of course he was.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm still looking at these pictures of the Alpha. I am. It is really quite a thing. So
I didn't tell you what happened to me the other day. I was driving through Bath in my Honda, and up ahead I saw an old shape 5 Series, like an E28, a shark-nosed 5 Series.
Oh, yeah.
And immediately, I was like, my little meerkat head poking up above the windscreen of the Beat, trying to get a better look.
Yeah.
And we were on a 2-lane road that runs up to a roundabout. And so, as the Americans would say, I dove up the inside so that I could get closer to this BM because that was the lane I needed to be in anyway. But I gave it a little squirt just to get closer. And as I got closer, I was like, my God, that's not just any E28. It's a 525E.
Oh, okay.
Which must be a very rare variant of that quite rare car these days. Also, notice that it had, and these must have been an option, rear headrests, really massive rear headrests, like that almost seemed to blot out the whole of the back window. And it came alongside, and we're both waiting to merge onto this roundabout, and then we both did. So he's on the outside because he's going to go round to the right, and I was heading off to the left. But just for a brief moment, we were moving away in parallel. I looked over to have a final good look at this BMW, and just caught the driver's eye, and he just gave me a wave, and I gave him a nod back, and it was just like, yeah, I've got an interesting car, you've got an interesting car, we could be friends. And off he went. I was just like, that was such a nice little thing for him to do, just to go, I know, yeah, I was checking out your car as well, we're cool.
Did it have the strange off-centre exhaust at that era? It does, doesn't
yes.
it? E28,
yeah.
Which it doesn't quite work.
No.
As much as I like originality of cars, I actually think if I owned an E28, which I hope I will at some point, I'd have to get the valance reshaped and probably the exhaust reprofiled at the back end, just to set the record straight, as it were.
The M535 still had that not quite central, but just not quite right exhaust pipe.
Yes.
They're terrible, aren't they? Why do they do that?
It is terrible. Do you know what it reminds me of? Is rock stars in the 70s with too tight trousers. And so the trouser bulge is clearly one left or right. It's never in the middle. It's just not, is it? So therefore you're drawn to look at it even if you don't want to look at it because it's just right there. But it's asymmetrical, so it's annoying. Do
you know what's weird? I've just seen a picture of the back of an E12 5 Series, the predecessor to the E28. But on the E12, the exhaust pipe is also not central, but it's off to the other side. So the E12 dresses to the left and the E28 dresses to the right, to use your Rockstar comparison. Why? Why have they done that?
It's odd, isn't it?
It is odd. I never really thought about it before, except that it is an irritating thing. Speaking of this sort of, I don't know if you anyone heard, I was on the S.P.R.E.E.M podcast with the guys from Top Dead Centre, the YouTube channel, a couple of weeks ago, and I mentioned that I was being haunted by this mystery white SUV that I'd seen a couple of times around near where I live. And it had a sort of Jeep-like grille, but it wasn't a Jeep, and it was really bothering me. And I looked up every Chinese car company I could think of that sells cars here, assuming it must be from some fairly new brand.
Yeah. And
then I finally cracked it after I'd been on that podcast. It's a KGM Torres, which is, KGM is what used to be SsangYong. So it's not a Chinese car, it's a South Korean car. And the Torres is their newest model, and it has this quite Jeepy grille. But what I then discovered is it's got an offset rear number plate like a Discovery 5, but even worse because it's barely offset.
Oh no.
It's just a very, very little bit offset so that it just looks totally wrong, like it's been fitted badly.
And there's no spare wheel bolted to the back?
No.
Oh gosh.
No, it's just, I can't, I've actually asked to borrow one because I need to know more about this car. I don't know why, but I think I'm going to review it for the paper. But no, it sort of has like a faux spare wheel lump, but no actual spare wheel. And then the plate is just a little bit off. It's really weird. I
don't like that.
No.
I don't think I want that. Hey, Phoebe Bilstein. I was ordering some bits the other day, some suspension-related bits, and a couple of them were Phoebe Bilstein, or Phoebe Bilstein. I don't know. Tell me, in another,
is it Febby?
Oh, is it okay? Febby Bilstein.
I thought you were being silly and suggesting that she was like a lady who works in the library.
Well,
Phoebe Bilstein.
Oh well, this was my question actually. Febby Bilstein or Phoebe Bilstein, are they? In another world, would they be like a rally driver or maybe a slightly aggravated New York City lawyer who would they be?
Yes, maybe.
Don't give it to Febby Bilstein. He's an absolute bastard. He's got no time for anybody. Febby.
I don't think I've ever bought any parts from them.
You should. They're not paying. They're not paying me
will.
to say that. You know, they're pretty good though.
You see, I made the brilliant decision to buy a car that was only sold in Japan, so I have to get all my parts from actual Japan at the moment, which is fine. It's just that it takes a while.
It does take a while, doesn't it?
As we were recording this, I had a little message on my phone to say that a new thermostat for my Beat has been delivered, which is kind of exciting in a weird sort of way, because it's come all the way from Japan.
Off of a long way from Japan.
Yeah, and is you can't, because sometimes with cars, and the Honda are particularly good at sort of using the same bit across many models, and so I was hopeful that oh yeah, actually that thermostat they was on Civics that was sold here. You could just get it from any Honda dealer, but no. It's a specific thermostat that is only for the Beat and the Activan.
Is it really?
Yeah.
The Activan.
Activan.
I still honestly think, whenever we talk about silly little commercial vehicles from Japan, they're not silly, actually, they're great. I still think you need to get a Mazda Porter with those big, happy, circular eyes.
One day. There's quite a few other things from Japan that I would get before that, but yes.
That surprises
me.
me.
Well, no, because I bought those trainers with Porter written on them.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about this? Those black and orange trainers I've got it's a Japanese fashion brand. It's not Mr. Porter, the one we have here. It's something else, I think. And Adidas did a hookup with them. In fact, it was somebody, it might have been a listener. No, it was probably pre-podcast. Somebody messaged me and went, you should get a pair of these. And it was this announcement, new limited edition Adidas times Porter DAPs. And so I went, yeah, I should, shouldn't I? And I bought, they weren't cheap either. I bought these things and then suddenly went, oh God, people might think I've had these made. Because it's, like on Adidas trainers, it says like Samba or whatever written on the side with the stripes. Well, this says Porter.
And you thought you look like a bit of a wand now you've put them on.
I look like a bit of a cylinder because of it. They even say Porter on the laces as well. It's like, but yeah, I don't wear them very much, partly because actually I'm not sure I like them, and partly because also I think I look like I might be having some kind of intense ego moment with personalised trainers. So the Mazda Porter truck might take that a step too far.
I don't want that for you.
Well, before we go, there are three things to tell you. The first is that Jonny's engaged in a remarkable project to make a new TV travel show in which the former lead singer of Marillion only visits warm, humid countries no more than 23.5 degrees north or south of the equator, under the working title Tropical Fish. If that's not to your taste, of course, there's the Late Break Show. What have we got on there?
I'd just taken a swig of water. Oh, it's really, really the wrong time to do it with you in the Netherlands. I thought you must have run out of Marillion references by now.
It's
sure enough.
Happen.
So, the week that you're listening to this is Glastonbury Festival week, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Everyone's going to Pilton and all that and watching some like bands and on the big stages and on the little stages and like maybe worshipping some precious stones or, I don't know, like going to see ley lines. Well, got a barn find episode out on the Late Break Show. Will have just gone live if you listen to this on Monday. And it's a very, very special car. And it's in actual Glastonbury. Really close to the festival, in fact. Closer to Pilton than actual Glastonbury. And so I'd like you to go and watch that. It's a lovely, lovely car and an interesting story. It wasn't even in a barn. It was in an orchard. But hey. So there you go.
Good.
And there's other
nice.
there's other things on the channel if you don't want to watch that, but it's up to you, frankly. You don't have to.
Second thing I've got to tell you is I have various books out. One of them is called And on That Bombshell, which is about my time working on Top Gear 2002, 2015. Why not go and read that or listen to the audiobook version if you are into that kind of thing. And the third thing I want to tell you is, you remember the DJ Sasha?
Yes.
Huge superstar DJ.
Yeah.
In his 90s pomp, Sasha was given a Rover 200 coupe, which he then immediately lost.
What?
Yeah, so I've just read this book. It's quite a few years old. This book called Superstar DJs, which is about the rise of dance music and the rise of DJs in the 90s. And one of the anecdotes in is that Sasha signed to a management company, DMC, and to celebrate signing him, because he was already a huge star, they gave him a brand new Rover 216 coupe. And the following week, he wandered into their offices and someone asked him, how did you get on with your new car? And I'm quoting the book now. There was a short, bewildered silence. Sasha scratched his head. He drew a blank. It had been a heavy weekend, and he had no idea what had happened to the car. It was out there somewhere, but he couldn't tell them which street it was in. He couldn't even tell them which city it was in. The car has never been found.
Oh my gosh. I wonder if somebody borrowed it. I wonder if it became a sort of...
somewhere out there. Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, there's always a chance he just gave the keys to somebody and they just had it. But there's always a chance that somewhere in Britain there's a very algal Rover 200 coupe that technically belongs to Sasha. Maybe we'll never know.
I'd love it if it ended up at a few raves.
Right then. Well, that's that for this, but we'll do it all again on Monday. Also, an Otter answering your questions on Friday. Until then, goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Cheers, mate. Thanks, mate. Bye.
So you've enjoyed this podcast, but you've had a thought. Is there a way here today that you could show support? Well, you could join our Patreon. What wonders that it brings. Early shows and extra notes on that side of things. You could buy our merchandise. We've mugs and hats, but still no ties. One day we will make those pies, but in the meantime, guys, hey guys, like and subscribe, and maybe leave a nice review. Like and subscribe, we know you know just what to do. Like and subscribe, we don't want to take the piss. Like and subscribe, but we were told to ask for this. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Hello.
Hair.